Hello everyone, and welcome back to Andree Unfiltered episode number 13. And as today's title is Learn from the past, live in the present, work for the future. That is what I wanted to touch base on for today's episode, briefly, because that is a topic you can talk about for a very long time and go very deep into. But I just briefly want to talk about my point of view from that line, because that is kind of a trendy line, or like something that a lot of people are talking about, especially in self-development and like self-helpness and self-help, and those aspects that we should live in the present, because that's the only time frame we have. We don't have the past, we don't have the future, we only have right now. And that is so true. And I think that very few people actually live in the present. And me, myself, I can be very much, not so much living in the past. I have worked my way through not living in the past anymore. But I can sometimes tend to be living in the future. And I think people are leaning towards one or the other more. Like people are leaning towards more living in the past or living in the future. I think maybe some people are mixing it and are living more in the past and the future rather than right now. But I see some people are, I talked about this in the episode where I talked about old traumas and how we shouldn't live in our old traumas. And I think some people are doing that. But some people are also living only for the future. And I can tend to be a little bit like that. But I'm working consistently on being better. And what I mean with that is that I can sometimes live so much for things that I'm going to do in the future. I'm planning for trips. I am going to do this and this and this. And I'm planning, I'm going to start this then. And I'm so ahead in the future with my planning and my schedules and everything. So sometimes I can kind of be like shaking myself and be like, wait. It feels like I'm just living for all of these things that I'm going to do in the future, because I'm planning so much around it that I'm not grasping right now. I can literally be on a trip, planning the next trip. And it's like, wait 1 second. I am on this trip now, and I'm already sitting here and planning my next trip, not really embracing what I have right here, right now, and being too fast to just like make sure that I have things in the future to do. So I'm not really grasping what I'm doing right now. And all of a sudden, those are memories. It's not really here, and we only have here and right now. So that is something I'm working more on, to be like, okay, I'm going to do this in the future, but honestly, I don't honestly really know that I have the future. We don't really know. We only have right here, right now. So that is something that I am working on being better. I am still far from perfect there. I am still living a lot for the future and planning for the future. And sometimes I can be stressed out when it comes to economy, for example. I can be stressed out. I have a really good economy right now, but I can be stressed out that maybe in 1 year my business will not work. Maybe in 1 year I will not be able to do social medias. What am I going to do then? And then in the same breath, I'm like, wait, Denise, what are you doing? Why are you stressing that you might not be able to do this 1 year from now? Why are you stressing? You can do it right now. It's working. Right now you can live on it. And right now you can thrive from doing something, but you can have a good life and doing something that you love. Be thankful for that, live in that, and like be happy for that now, instead of sitting here stressing now for something that might happen in the future and might not even happen. So paying too much attention to what is going to happen or what did happen in the past can sometimes make us completely forget about the present. And that is the only time frame we have. So I think I put a lot of like I talked about it a lot in the previous episode of trauma. I talked about a lot how paying too much attention to what has happened will only leave you with a feeling of being stuck and that you're not getting anywhere, and that old patterns that did not work out for you then will not do you any good now. Like those things that the past, we should learn from it, acknowledge it, but not live in it. So I think I talked about that so much in the previous episode. I'm not going to be too stuck on talking about not living in the past. But I feel like it's the same thing with the future. We should work for the future, but we should not forget to live right now. Meanwhile, we are planning and working for the future. Because it's also stupid to say that we should just live now and not plan for the future at all. Like burn all your money, don't do any savings, don't think about how you're gonna get money when you retire. Like we have to think about all of those things, but we are never ever guaranteed that we will have that time. We should plan for it. We should have a safety net for ourselves, because otherwise we live in stupidity. So we should, of course, plan for the future. We should make sure that we are structuring our lives for the future, but we should not live for the future. We shouldn't be on one trip and being excited about the next trip so much that we forget that we are already on the trip that we were excited about the last trip, the previous trip we had. You see what I mean? Like where I'm getting? It's very naive to also just live in the now, and like we only have now, we only have the present. What happens in the future is not important, because of course that's going to be important. And if you don't plan for your future now, when you are arriving there, things might not be so pleasant. So I think planning for the future and living for the future are completely different things that we should separate. And that is what I'm trying to do. I don't want to be the one not planning for my future, because I love planning. That is something people that knows me, they would write under that for sure. They will sign like, yes, Denise loves planning. I am kind of known for that. I have my lists. I have my like documents, my budgets. Like I am a very organized person, and I love to organize for the future and plan for the future. And I have multiple different accounts and savings, and like I am very organized. But at the same time, sometimes, as I said, I can be stressed, like, oh, what am I going to do 1 year from now if social media is not working? Because I love what I'm doing. I don't want to change, but at one point I might have to change. But then I'm like, if someone would have asked me 16 years from now, 17 years from now, 18 years from now, Denise, what are you going to do 18 years from now? There were no way in hell that I would say, I think I might still work part-time as a model. No. Never, ever did I think that. But I managed to do it my own way. And here I am today, 18, 19 years old later, and I'm still doing some modeling. And I mean, I think 1 year from now, even if social media might not work for me, that's not something I have to stress over now, because along the way, other paths will open, other things will appear. I will find a way because I always do. So that is what I'm trying to learn from. Previously, I know that I have been stressed over things, and I thought that things were going to change tremendously. Maybe it didn't, and maybe some things did. That is not something I have to stress over right now, what's going to happen in the future. And up until very recently, I used to say like, oh, I still don't know what I want to be when I am old. Like as a joke, when I grew up, because that is something as a kid, people are like, oh, what do you want to be when you grew up? Oh, I want to be a doctor, or I want to be a veterinarian, or I want to be a fireman, or I want to be a soccer professional. People had dreams. And for me, sometimes it has felt like I have not really chosen my career, because I have been so pleasant to be able to work with things that I love. So it never really felt like I was working, even though I have been working so hard. I've been working really hard, so nothing has been coming to me easily. I would say the opposite. I've been working really hard for things, but always been doing things that I really love, which means that even if I have to work a lot for it, it has never really felt like I've been working a lot for it. And I've always said, like, I don't really know what my profession is going to be. I don't really know what I'm going to be when I'm old, when I'm grown up or an adult. Like, who am I going to be when I am all grown up? Because sometimes it feels like it is at the point when you choose, like, I want to be this or that. That's when you are like deciding. But for me, I never really did that. I always been taking different courses and like making my way through life, but not really in a way that other people have been doing it, not choosing a specific career or something. And up until very recently, I was always thinking, like, what am I gonna do? Until recently, I started to think, why am I thinking like that? Because why does it matter? I have, up until now, and I'm 38, turning 38, 37 right now. Up until now, my whole life, I've been finding a way, and I have been finding a way to do things that I really love. Why should that change? Why should I one day just decide to have a career in something specifically and work with that the rest of my life? Who said that it has to be like that? If I cannot do this, I might do something else. I might find a way to do something else. And it's not important because right now, right here, I have what I have and I should just live for it right now. And who cares what I'm going to do in the future? Who cares what I am going to work with in the future? Why should I be stressed over that right now? I should just embrace where I am right now and not stress for the future. And that is what I'm trying to work with, because honestly, we don't really know if we have the future even. The future is something I think many people take for granted until something happens, until they get sick. I think a lot of people are living for everything they're going to do in the future. They just know now is not the right time. They just have to do this and this and this and this before they can do their dream trip or their dream thing. There are a list of so many things that people have to achieve before they can do what they dream about doing. And then all of a sudden, life happens, and all of a sudden time is not an option anymore, and you cannot do all of the things, or you get sick. You never really know. I think people take things for granted and they live for dreams they might do sometimes in the future, but they are pushing it further and further and further away, and living for these things that they want to do in the future, but not really living right now, and might not even reach there, so they never really living. You see what I mean? Like always dreaming, never achieving, and never standing still and thinking about to thrive from today and the present. I don't know if I make any sense or if I'm just talking in circles, but I think that it's something that everyone knows. Everyone knows that, oh, we should be more present and live more for today. But I don't really think people are grasping the meaning of that, what that means. It doesn't mean that you have to let go of everything and be not responsible of the future and planning for the future. It doesn't mean that. It means that planning and scheduling and work for the future is one thing, but to live for the future, that everything you do right now is something for the future, that I don't think will be good for people in the long term, because all of a sudden life just happened and we were not really present, and we don't get a second chance. We only have this one life, depending on which religion you have and like what you think about what happens after death and everything. But if we're talking about this specific life, you don't get a second chance. You have this life and you got to do the best of it, which means you gotta embrace what you have right here, right now, in front of you, and not be stuck in the past, and not take the future for granted, and not live only for everything you're gonna do in the future. And I don't know, it's a saying that people can be dreamers and people can be doers, and that dreamers only dream for all the things they're gonna do, and they kind of live based on talking about all the things they want to do, but they really never really get around and actually do things that they dream about. And living like that would maybe be like living in, not really like living in the future, but the future is never really coming. You're living in this dream of this trip you want to do, but you never really do it, which means you're never really present here right now in the future, because you're not on the trip, but you're living for the trip that you're going to do, that you never really do because you never have the time or the money or whatever it can be. So I think to grasp what we have right here and appreciate that, because that is the life. This is our life. What we have right here, right now, this is what we have. And we cannot live for everything that we used to have or that we might have, because we only have the things we have right now. And I am trying to be better at that. And I think it also comes with age sometimes, that when we are young, we are so eager to be older. We are so eager to hit a certain age so we can do this or that we kind of forget to live right here, right now. And then we get older and we kind of live for the things that we could do when we were younger. And we live for things like wishing that we could turn back the time to be in a certain age again. But we can never do that. We are always going to be the age we are in the present. And that is what we should embrace. And that is what we should live for. And not live for a certain age we're going to have in the future, which is usually when we are younger. We are thriving and like longing to reach a certain age to do certain things. But then it turns, and then it's the other way around. We get older and we look back and sometimes can be a little bit mad that we did not appreciate the time when we had it. And that is not doing you any good, to sit here and be like, oh, why did I behave like I did when I was in my 20s? I should just have embraced the time because I was in the best shape of my life, or because I was this or that, or I had the whole life in front of me. Well, you have the same thing now, because now maybe you're in your 40s. You're going to be in your 60s one day, and you're going to sit there and say, why did I act like I did when I was 40? Why did I wish for all the things that I could have had when I was younger? Like, I should have just embraced my 40s, because now I'm 60 and I have body ache and I have this or that. There is always going to be different times, so we only have the time that we have right now. I sound like a broken record, keep saying like we should live in the present, we only have now. But however we twist and turn it, it all comes back to that. We only have this that we have. We don't even have tomorrow. You're not even guaranteed to wake up tomorrow. There is no guaranteed. There is nothing guaranteed. There is no guarantee that you have anything that you are planning for. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't plan and look forward to things. But the danger is when you forget to embrace right now and what you have right here and right in front of you today. And every day can be a beautiful day if we let it. Even if the weather is shitty, or I hate winter, for example. Winter in Sweden is not a very nice time. It's cold, it's really dark. We have to supplement ourselves with vitamin D, because otherwise we kind of get depressed. There are just a few hours of brightness every day, if there is even brightness. I think during the whole December we had like 1 hour of sunshine. The rest of the time it was so cloudy that No sun cells could pick up even one single bright light or anything. And it's cold. I'm always freezing, constantly freezing during the winter, no matter how much clothes I'm putting on. And it's dark and it's just boring. But to just live through the winters and just living for the summer, that was something I used to do. I always used to travel during the winters also. And that is something I'm doing still. I'm still traveling during the winters. But at the same time, we have to find something to embrace. Even if it's a really cold and dark and boring day, there is always something to embrace. And if you don't look at the environment, you can embrace something in who you are as a person right now, or just something. Just living for everything that is going to happen in the future will not enlighten anything in your everyday life right here, right now. And that is not easy. I think it sounds more easy than it actually is. And I'm wondering why we are like that, because animals seem to not live for the future like that. If I look at my dogs, they live day by day, and they take every day as a new day and embracing the day. I don't know what they are thinking about though, but it doesn't seem like they are living for the next day or the next week or the next season. They are just living today. And I think it's something beautiful to see from that, how the animals are living. They are planning for the future. The squirrels outside in my garden, they are hiding nuts for the future and then forgetting where they hide it. So that's a little bit stupid though, but they are planning for the future, but they are living right here, right now. They just do it by instinct. They know that they have to plan for the future, but they are not living for the future. And I think we can learn so much from the animal kingdom sometimes, because we humans, we think that we are so superior everything. But honestly, I think sometimes we have so much to learn, because who said that we are benefiting from living in the past or living for the future? Who said that we are benefiting from that? I think we could benefit so much more from just starting to live for right here, right now, more often and more frequently, and work on that more. Not only having it as a byline in our head that we should be more present. Actually put thought into what that actually means to live for the future, not in the future, to plan for the future, but not living only for what's going to happen in the future. And the same thing, to not be stuck and reliving everything that happened in the past, in good or bad terms. It can be in good terms, like, which is turning to a negative thing, but to relive all the good memories you had in the past and just be stuck in all of those good memories, that's not going to do you anything good today. Of course, we can go back to good memories and relive them for a moment and be thankful and happy that we could do those things. But to only be living for the good things we did in the past, that will make us depressed. After a while, we will be depressed in the present, and that is not taking us anywhere. And the same thing with being stuck in old traumas, not being able to move forward. That is not going to bring you anything bright to your present time. So let go sometimes and move on, and also let go of the future and acknowledge that even if the future is not happening, everything that I plan for in the future, am I happy right here with like where I am today? Is that something I can be happy about? Because that is the only thing literally that I have. I think that's important. And I think it's important to put a little time into actually reflecting around these things and not only listening to what everyone is saying, but actually reflecting what the meaning of that is in your life. Because that can be so different from someone else's life. What I am saying that I'm sitting on one vacation and planning the next trip. That is my perspective. That might not have anything to do with you or how you view this aspect of living more for the present and not so much for the future. So grasp on to what the meaning of this is for you, and how you can make a difference in your life being more present right now. And some people are like, oh, we should be more present. That is like sitting and meditating, and it could be, but it doesn't have to be the right answer for you. It can be something completely different. So find your why right here, right now. I think that's what I'm trying to say. And find how it will define you, and not based on how it's defining other people, to live more in the present. What is that for you? And yeah, look at yourself and see if you are living in the past or for the future only, or if you're actually taking a moment to realize what you have right now. This is something I'm working on, and I think all of us should work on it. And if you are really good at living for today, I'm very proud of you. That's something that I admire a lot in people. And yeah. So a lot of rambling in this episode. Sorry for that, maybe. But sometimes it's good to just ramble out things that are on top of our head. And I hope you liked today's episode anyhow. If you did, and if you're listening on YouTube, you can make a comment, or if you want to be private, sometimes it can be very personal things that we are talking about here, that I am talking about here, and maybe you don't want to reflect in the comments. Open space for everyone. Then you can always contact me if there's something. You can always email me. My email is very, very easy. It's info@deniseandree.com. If you're listening to the podcast, you can comment, but it's sometimes hard for me to see because it's in so many different platforms. But you can always reach out to me, and I would love to have a dialogue about things that I'm talking about. But with that being said, I want to thank you so much for listening to me today, and for tuning in to my podcast wherever you found it and wherever you are listening from. I'm very thankful and grateful for having you as on board on my podcast journey here on Andree Unfiltered. And with that being said, thank you so much for this episode, and hopefully we will see each other in my next episode. I'm uploading every Monday and every Friday, and I'm trying to be very consistent. So stay tuned for the next episode, and see you very soon. Bye, everyone.